You don't need fancy or complicated fishing rigs to catch fish. Some of the most effective fishing rigs are actually really simple, and I'm going to show you 3 of them. So for this first rig, you just need some leader line, a really small bore sinker, a swivel, and a hook that's going to be suitable for whatever type of bait you plan on using. So if you plan on using prawns, worms, nippers, or something like that, you want to use a bait keeper hook that's got barbs on the back of the shank. Now the barbs help keep your bait on properly, so if little fish bite at your bait or have a go at your bait, it doesn't just slide off easily, and also gives us really good bait presentation for those types of baits. Whereas if you're going to be using pilchards or a slab bait like a strip of squid or something like that, you want to use an octopus hook, because that'll give us a better bait presentation for a slab bait or half pilchard or pilchard cube. So as long as you know what type of bait you're going to be using, that will narrow down your hook options. So to get started, you just want to cut about 50 or 60 centimeters of your leader, and then you want to tie it to a swivel. Now use whichever knot you're most comfortable with. The strongest knot is the knot that you tie best. I like to use uni knots for all this sort of thing. Never had an issue with it. If you don't know how to tie a uni knot but you want to learn, I've got a video on it on the channel that I did not too long ago. We'll cut our tag end off. Now on the other end of this swivel, this is where your main line would be. So your main line, which is the line that's on your reel that you feed through the guides of your rod, ties to this side. On the other side, we just tie on our leader. Now, you want to put your sinker on your leader and then tie on the hook of your choice, using, again, whichever knot you're most comfortable with. I'm just going to go with the uni knot again. So once we've done that, that's the rig pretty much done. We just cut our tag end off like so. Also guys, make sure you're lubricating your lines before you're pulling any of your knots tight, so it doesn't singe your line and weaken it. So now we would have our main line tied to the other end of this swivel. Then you've got your leader, and then a sinker straight to your hook. This rig is really good if you're fishing from a wharf or a jetty. The smaller the sinker, the better. But if there's no current at all, or if the water's really still, you can actually make the exact same rig but without the sinker, and that'll allow your bait to sink a lot more naturally. So you can make the exact same rig without a sinker if there's no current at all, or if the water's really still. Otherwise, you just use a really small sinker straight to your hook. It really is as simple as that, and this rig is extremely effective on wharves and jetties. Now when it comes to leader selection guys, I just want you to keep one thing in mind. The lighter your leader line, the more bites you're going to get, but the more fish you're going to lose, especially when it comes to contact with structure or just getting busted off if it's a fish is slightly larger. But the heavier your line, yes, you will lose less fish, but you get a lot less bites. So you want to find that sweet spot, and that's going to depend on where you're fishing. So you might have to experiment a little bit. Generally, anywhere from 10 to 20 pound covers most land-based species, as long as you're not fishing off the rocks. So maybe start at 10 pound. And if you keep getting busted off, go a little heavier. If you're not getting busted off at all, or you're not getting many bites, go a little bit lighter, and then just tweak it from there. Now for this next rig, you'll just need some leader line, a swivel, a hook that's suitable for whatever bait you're going to be using, and a bore sinker. Now guys, when it comes to your sinker size, the key to choosing the right sinker is basically you want the lightest sinker that will actually hold your line in place. So as long as the sinker is holding your line in place, you should have absolutely no problem. If your line keeps moving, then you want to go a little bit heavier. Now for this rig, you just want to feed your sinker onto your main line, like so. So that's your main line. Then you want to tie your swivel on using whichever knot you're most comfortable with, like so. And then lubricate your line and your knot. Pull it tight, and then just cut off your tag end. Now on the other end of the swivel, you just want to tie on your leader line. You just need about 50 or 60 centimeters of line for your leader, which is basically 20 or 25 inches for our friends in the US. So we'll tie that on like so. Lubricate your knot, pull it tight, cut our tag end. Now the only thing left to do is tie our hook on. Again guys, make sure the hook is suitable for whatever type of bait you plan on using, like so. Lubricate our line, pull our knot nice and tight, and then cut our tag end off. So now we've got our sinker that's on our main line, which will sink to the bottom and allows your line to pass through the sinker. That's why we don't tie our sinker on, we keep it running. You want the sinker to be running, right? You want it to be free, so when the fish takes your bait, it doesn't feel the weight of the sinker. So that's the sinker on the main line to the swivel. Other side of the swivel is your leader, which goes to your hook. Again, very simple, but very effective rig. Now this rig is great off the beach or in a river. As long as the water's not too rough. If the water's really rough, that's where this next rig would come in. For our next rig, all you need is some leader lines suitable for whatever species you're targeting in terms of breaking strain, a swivel, a hook that's going to be suitable for whatever bait you're using. Now for your sinker, you want a star sinker or a pyramid sinker, because these sinkers hold the bottom much better. They don't move around like a bore sinker would. So if the water's rough, a bore sinker will just roll along the bottom, whereas the star sinker actually holds the bottom, so it doesn't move as much and it keeps great tension in your line. And then for our star sinker, we're going to need 2 soft beads and 1 sliding clip. Now to get started for this rig, you want to feed on one of the glow beads like so. Then you want to feed on the sliding clip, and then your other glow bead like so. Now we're going to tie our swivel on like so. I just use uni knots for pretty much everything when it comes to tackle, but you guys just use whichever knot you're most comfortable with. And we'll tie that on like this. Now we're gonna cut our tag end off. So what this does, right, this allows us to put the star sinker on the clip like this. Now the purpose of this setup is you've got soft bead on one side to protect the tip of your rod, soft bead on the other side to protect the knot that's attaching your main line to your swivel. And then when it comes to the clip, it allows the main line to pass through it. So when the fish takes your bait, it doesn't feel the weight of the sinker until you've already set the hook. Okay, so that's that part done. Now the only thing left to do is tie on our leader, which again we're going to use 50 to 60 centimeters, so 20 to 25 inches. Tie this on like so. Make sure we're lubricating our lines before we set our knots to prevent the line from singeing, which will weaken it from the friction. Okay. And then tie on the hook of your choice, which matches your bait the best. And then we're pretty much done once we cut the tag end off. So once again, lubricate your line, lubricate your knot, and then pull it tight. Cut the tag end off. And that's our third rig done. So quick overview, we've got the sliding clip with a bead on either side on our main line to a swivel. Other side of the swivel has our leader, 50 to 60 centimeters or 20 to 25 inches, with a hook that's going to be suitable for whatever bait we're using. Now this rig is awesome off the beach, especially those rough beaches where you normally have an issue keeping your sinker in place. So that's 3 really easy but very effective fishing rigs, especially for the people that are new to bait fishing or new to the hobby in general. I hope you guys found this video helpful, and I'll catch you in the next one.